66 million years ago, the world was a complete killing field. The Late Cretaceous, Earth's final chapter of the Age of Dinosaurs, was no paradise. It was an era of evolutionary arms races where predator and prey were locked in a deadly dance of survival. The continents had split, creating isolated kingdoms where specialized killers evolved. Massive theropods with bone-crushing jaws ruled the lands. Agile pack hunters coordinated with terrifying precision. The prey itself was armed with deadly weapons. And even the wetlands and shallow waters offered no sanctuary. In this world, there was nowhere to hide. Death came in many forms, from the scorching deserts of Mongolia to the lush floodplains of North America, and from the humid coastlines of Africa to the forests of South America. Every single continent was an absolute death trap. Earth itself created the most perfect killing machines, the predators of the Late Cretaceous. These are the nightmares that stalked the planet. And one of the most famous ones, if not the most famous one, is the king of all dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurus rex. The undisputed king of the Late Cretaceous roamed the vast floodplains and forests of western North America, from present-day Canada to Mexico. Tyrannosaurus rex dominated these landscapes during the final 2 million years before the mass extinction, around 68 to 66 million years ago. Standing up to 13 feet tall at the hip and stretching over 40 feet from nose to tail, T-Rex was a biological masterpiece of evolutionary terror. Its massive skull, up to 5 feet long, housed a brain larger than most predatory dinosaurs, suggesting high intelligence and enhanced sensory capabilities. Those bone-crushing jaws generated forces of over 12,000 pounds per square inch, one of the strongest bites of any land animal in Earth's history. Despite weighing up to 9 tons, T-Rex's body was remarkably efficient. Its distinctive 2-fingered forelimbs, though small, were surprisingly powerful, capable of lifting over 400 pounds, and the massive hind limbs, with legs like living pillars, supported its enormous weight. T-Rex was no mindless brute. Binocular vision comparable to modern hawks gave it precise depth perception, while its olfactory bulbs suggest a sense of smell rivaling today's vultures. This sensory arsenal made it the perfect hunter of large prey. Its diet centered on massive horned dinosaurs like Triceratops and duck-billed hadrosaurs, though it would consume whatever it could catch or steal. When T-Rex walked the Earth, nowhere within its territory was truly safe. This was evolution's perfect predator, the ultimate expression of nature's capacity for creating sophisticated killing machines. While Tyrannosaurus rex commands our fascination, another tyrannosaur stalked North America. Albertosaurus, named after Alberta, Canada, where it was first discovered. This earlier relative reveals how the tyrannosaur lineage evolved into the perfect killing machines we recognize today. More slender and lighter than its famous cousin, Albertosaurus reached lengths of 30 feet and stood about 11 feet tall, weighing roughly 1.5 to 2 tons, less than a third of T-Rex's mass. This lighter build translated into greater speed, making it a swift and agile hunter across the coniferous forests and floodplains of Late Cretaceous Canada. The family resemblance to T-Rex is unmistakable, the massive head balanced by a long tail, powerful hind limbs, and reduced forelimbs with 2 fingers. However, its skull was proportionally longer and lower, with more numerous teeth, designed less for bone-crushing and more for slicing through flesh. Albertosaurus's bite force, while formidable, generated approximately only 1/3 the power of its larger descendant. And like its famous relative, Albertosaurus possessed binocular vision and an advanced sense of smell, though its brain-to-body ratio suggests it may have been even more intelligent relative to its size. And just like the T-Rex, its diet centered on massive horned dinosaurs like Triceratops and duck-billed hadrosaurs. While living in T-Rex's shadow in popular culture, Albertosaurus represents a crucial evolutionary stage, showcasing how nature refined the Tyrannosaur blueprint over millions of years, trading some raw power for speed and strategic hunting capability, yet still creating a predator that left nowhere to hide. So while North America's tyrannosaurs perfected the art of bone-crushing dominance, the southern continents spawned an entirely different breed of apex predator. In the sun-scorched landscapes of late Cretaceous Argentina, an even larger monster ruled with a completely different killing strategy: the Giganotosaurus, quite possibly the largest land predator ever to walk the earth. At up to 43 feet long and weighing as much as 8 tons, Giganotosaurus matched or even exceeded T-Rex in sheer size, but represented a fundamentally different approach to apex predation. Unlike the bone-crushing tyrannosaurs, Giganotosaurus belonged to the Carnivorous family, the shark-toothed lizards. Its massive skull, stretching over 5 feet long, housed dozens of razor-sharp, serrated teeth designed not for crushing bone, but for slicing through flesh like living scalpels. These blade-like teeth could cause devastating blood loss with surgical precision. Its brain, however, was smaller relative to body size than tyrannosaurs, suggesting it relied more on raw power and instinct than strategic intelligence. Fossil evidence even suggests that Giganotosaurus may have engaged in pack behavior when targeting the most massive prey on Earth. Sauropods like Argentinosaurus, which could reach over 100 feet in length. In South America's Cretaceous ecosystems, where titanosaur sauropods grew to unprecedented sizes, evolution responded by creating predators large enough and savage enough to bring them down. And if Giganotosaurus was South America's heavyweight champion, then Carnivorous was its nightmare-inducing speedster. Discovered in the windswept badlands of Argentina's Patagonia region, this terrifying predator earned its name, literally meat-eating bull, from the 2 demonic horns that jutted from above its eyes like a creature from prehistoric hell. At 25 feet long and weighing approximately 2 tons, Carnivorous was smaller than its giant relatives, but what it lacked in size, it more than compensated for in pure, terrifying speed. This was arguably the fastest large predator of the Cretaceous period, with long, powerful legs built for pursuit that could potentially reach speeds of 35 miles per hour, faster than any human could ever run. Unlike other predators we've encountered, Carnivorous possessed an almost alien appearance. Its skull was short and deep, dominated by those distinctive devil horns, while its eyes faced forward like a bird of prey, providing exceptional depth perception for tracking fleeing victims. Most bizarre of all were its arms, so reduced they made T-Rexes look powerful by comparison. Carnivorous's forelimbs had degenerated into mere stumps without even fingers or claws. But to be honest, Carnivorous didn't need arms when it had those incredible legs. The prey had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Carnivorous likely targeted smaller dinosaurs, juvenile sauropods, and ornithopods, using its sharp, blade-like teeth to deliver quick, slashing bites that would cause rapid blood loss. Some scientists suggest it may have even used its horned skull as a battering ram, adding blunt force trauma to its arsenal. In South America's diverse predator guild, Carnivorous filled the role of the specialist pursuit hunter, a horned demon that could outrun almost anything unfortunate enough to catch its attention. While South America's predators perfected the art of pursuit and pack hunting across the ancient Tethys Sea in North Africa, evolution was crafting perhaps the most perfectly designed killing machine of the Cretaceous period. In the humid, river-rich landscapes of what is now Morocco, Egypt, and Algeria, roamed a predator whose very name strikes terror: Carnivorous, the shark-toothed lizard of the Sahara. This African titan rivaled Giganotosaurus in sheer size, stretching up to 43 feet in length and weighing as much as 8 tons, making it one of the largest land predators ever discovered. But unlike its South American cousin, Carcharodontosaurus represented the absolute pinnacle of the Carcharodontosaur lineage, a family of predators that had been refining their killing techniques for millions of years. The key to Carcharodontosaurus's success lay in its magnificent skull, over 5 feet of bone, housing a mouth filled with the most perfectly designed cutting tools in prehistoric history. Its teeth, resembling giant versions of great white shark teeth, were laterally compressed blades with serrated edges capable of slicing through flesh and bone with surgical precision. These weren't bone crushers like T-Rex's teeth. They were living scalpels designed to cause catastrophic blood loss. This apex predator hunted everything from massive sauropods to the abundant fish that filled the region's rivers and lakes. Fossil evidence suggests it shared its territory with other large predators like Spinosaurus, creating one of the most dangerous predator guilds in Earth's history. Speaking of Carcharodontosaurus sharing territory with Spinosaurus hints at one of the most remarkable predator relationships in prehistoric history. These two titans managed to coexist in the same North African landscapes by occupying completely different ecological niches, and Spinosaurus represents perhaps the most bizarre and specialized apex predator the world has ever known. At up to 50 feet in length, Spinosaurus may have been the longest predatory dinosaur ever discovered, though much of that length came from its crocodile-like skull and massive paddle-shaped tail. What truly set this monster apart was the towering sail on its back, neural spines extending up to 6 feet high, creating a distinctive profile that announced its presence across the Cretaceous waterways of Egypt, Morocco, and Algeria. Unlike every other large theropod we've encountered, Spinosaurus was semi-aquatic, evolution's answer to the question, what if a crocodile grew to dinosaur proportions? Its elongated skull housed over 60 conical teeth, perfectly designed for gripping slippery fish, while its nostrils were positioned high on the head, allowing it to breathe while mostly submerged. Recent discoveries have revolutionized our understanding of this aquatic predator. Spinosaurus possessed dense bones for underwater stability, webbed feet for swimming, and that massive tail functioned as a powerful propeller, making it a formidable swimmer capable of pursuing prey both above and below the water's surface. While Carcharodontosaurus dominated the land, Spinosaurus ruled the rivers, lakes, and coastal waters. Its diet consisted primarily of massive fish, but evidence suggests it was opportunistic enough to snatch unwary dinosaurs that came to drink. So, while massive predators like Spinosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus dominated through sheer size and power, some of the most terrifying hunters of the Cretaceous relied on a completely different strategy: intelligence, speed, and coordinated pack behavior. These were the dromaeosaurids, the running lizards, also known as raptors. And their story begins with the dinosaur that gave this deadly family its name, Dromaeosaurus, the original raptor that would define an entire lineage of sophisticated killers. Discovered in the Badlands of Alberta, Canada, this 6-foot-long predator may seem small compared to the giants we've discussed, but pound for pound, it was one of the most efficient killing machines ever evolved. Dromaeosaurus possessed all the trademark features that would make its family famous: a large brain relative to body size, indicating high intelligence and complex problem-solving abilities, powerful hind limbs built for explosive speed and agility, and most famously, that terrible sickle-shaped claw on each foot, a 3-inch curved blade of bone that could disembowel prey with surgical precision. Unlike the massive skull crushers and flesh slicers we've encountered, Dromaeosaurus was built for precision killing. Its jaws were filled with razor-sharp, serrated teeth designed for gripping and tearing, while its long arms ended in 3-fingered hands tipped with sharp claws, perfect for grappling struggling victims. But what made Dromaeosaurus truly dangerous was its pack-hunting behavior. Evidence suggests these intelligent predators coordinated their attacks, using teamwork to bring down prey much larger than themselves. Small dinosaurs, juvenile hadrosaurs, and even young tyrannosaurs may have fallen victim to coordinated raptor attacks. When Dromaeosaurus hunted, size meant nothing. Intelligence and coordination were everything. The dromaeosaurs we just discussed epitomize what we think of when we hear the word raptor. Small, swift, deadly pack hunters with sickle claws and razor teeth. But the late Cretaceous had a twisted sense of humor, because it also produced something that completely shattered our expectations of what a raptor could be, a creature whose name is deeply misleading, Gigantoraptor. Discovered in the windswept deserts of Inner Mongolia, Gigantoraptor represents one of evolution's strangest experiments. Despite its name suggesting a giant raptor, this 16-foot-tall, 2-ton monster was actually an oviraptorosaur, a group more closely related to birds than to the deadly dromaeosaurs we just discussed. Standing more than twice as tall as a person and weighing as much as a rhinoceros, Gigantoraptor possessed long, powerful legs that could propel it at speeds potentially exceeding 30 miles per hour. But here's where things get bizarre. This giant had no teeth. Instead, its massive beak was designed for an omnivorous lifestyle, completely unlike its fearsome namesake. Fossil evidence suggests Gigantoraptor used its formidable size and speed not to hunt other dinosaurs, but to access food sources unavailable to smaller creatures, stripping leaves from tall trees, cracking open massive eggs, and potentially scavenging carcasses left by true predators. Yet despite its peaceful diet, Gigantoraptor was far from harmless. Those powerful legs and massive claws could deliver devastating defensive kicks to any predator foolish enough to attack. It was a living reminder that in the late Cretaceous, even the plant-eaters could be terrifying, and that truly there was nowhere to hide from the unexpected. If Gigantoraptor challenged your preconceptions about what a raptor could be, then our next bizarre specialist will completely shatter every assumption about theropod dinosaurs. Therizinosaurus, a creature so strange that paleontologists initially thought they'd discovered the remains of a giant turtle. But the truth was far more extraordinary. This colossal nightmare from the late Cretaceous of Mongolia stood up to 16 feet tall and stretched over 30 feet in length, weighing as much as 5 tons. Therizinosaurus belonged to the theropod group, the same lineage that produced T-Rex and Giganotosaurus, yet it had evolved into something completely unprecedented, a massive plant-eating giant armed with the most terrifying claws in prehistoric history. Each of Therizinosaurus's hands ended in 3 claws that stretched over 3 feet long, scythe-like weapons that could disembowel a tyrannosaur with a single swipe. These weren't just the longest claws of any animal ever discovered. They were precision instruments, capable of both delicate manipulation and devastating destruction. But here's the twist that made Therizinosaurus one of evolution's strangest experiments. Despite possessing one of the most fearsome natural weapons ever evolved, this giant was a peaceful herbivore. Those massive claws were primarily tools for stripping leaves from tall trees and defending against predators, not for hunting prey. Therizinosaurus's small head housed a toothless beak designed for cropping vegetation, while its massive barrel-shaped body contained the enormous digestive system needed to process plant matter. Yet its muscular build and those incredible claws meant it could defend itself against any predator brave enough to attack. And if Therizinosaurus represented evolution's most heavily armed herbivore, then our next bizarre specialist remained one of paleontology's greatest mysteries for over 4 decades. For years, all scientists had of Dinosaurus were 2 massive arms ending in foot-long claws, discovered in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia in 1965. These terrible hands sparked wild speculation. What kind of monster could possess such enormous limbs? The complete picture, finally revealed in 2014, proved that reality was stranger than any scientist's imagination. Dinosaurus, living in the same Mongolian landscapes as Therizinosaurus, was a 36-foot-long giant weighing up to 6 tons, making it one of the largest ornithomimosaurs, or bird-mimic lizards, ever discovered. But calling Dinosaurus a bird-mimic was like calling a grizzly bear a teddy bear. This was no graceful ostrich dinosaur. It was a hulking, bizarre creature that looked like evolution had taken parts from different animals and assembled them into something from a fever dream. Its massive skull ended in a duck-like bill, while a distinctive sail-like hump rose from its back, giving it an almost camel-like profile. Those famous arms that had puzzled scientists for decades were revealed to be fishing tools extraordinaire. Each hand ended in 3 massive curved claws, perfectly designed for scooping fish from rivers and lakes. Despite its omnivorous diet of fish, plants, and possibly small animals, Dinosaurus was no gentle giant. Those 8-foot-long arms could deliver devastating blows to any predator, while its massive size made it a formidable opponent for even the largest carnivores. Fossil evidence shows bite marks from predators, suggesting this strange giant regularly fought for its life. Throughout our journey into the late Cretaceous killing fields, we've encountered an arsenal of specialized predators: bone crushers, flesh slicers, pack hunters, and bizarre specialists. But in this deadly world where evolution crafted perfect killing machines, prey animals didn't simply surrender to extinction. They fought back with the most powerful defensive strategy imaginable. They became too big to kill, like Giganotosaurus, quite possibly the largest land animal that ever lived. This titanosaur from Argentina didn't need claws, fangs, or armor to survive in a world full of predators like Giganotosaurus and Carnivorous. Its weapon was pure, overwhelming size, stretching potentially over 100 feet from head to tail, and weighing as much as 12 African elephants. Giganotosaurus was a living mountain of flesh and bone. To put this in perspective, this single dinosaur weighed more than an entire pack of Giganotosaurus combined. Even the most powerful predators of South America would think twice before attacking such a colossal target. But Giganotosaurus wasn't just big. It was intelligently designed for survival. Its incredibly long neck, stretching over 30 feet, allowed it to browse vegetation far from ground level, keeping its vulnerable head away from predators. Meanwhile, its pillar-like legs, each thicker than tree trunks, could deliver bone-shattering kicks capable of crippling even the largest carnivores. Fossil evidence suggests that while predators occasionally targeted juvenile Giganotosaurus, healthy adults were largely immune to predation. In South America's Cretaceous ecosystems, these titans created mobile safe zones, vast areas of moving sanctuary where smaller animals could shelter beneath their legs and around their massive bodies. Giganotosaurus proved that in the late Cretaceous arms race, sometimes the best defense was simply being too big to be worth the risk. While giants like Giganotosaurus survived through sheer overwhelming size, other prey animals took a different approach to the late Cretaceous arms race. Instead of growing too big to attack, they evolved into living weapons, creatures so heavily armed and armored that even the most fearsome predators learned to approach with deadly caution. In the final chapters of the dinosaur age, the forests and plains of western North America witnessed epic battles between 2 of evolution's greatest success stories: Tyrannosaurus rex and its equally formidable prey, Triceratops and Ankylosaurus. Triceratops, weighing up to 12 tons and stretching 30 feet in length, was essentially a living tank equipped with a battering ram. Its massive skull, up to 10 feet long, supported a bony frill and 3 deadly horns, 2 over the eyes reaching 3 feet in length, and a smaller nasal horn. When threatened, Triceratops would lower its head and charge like a rhinoceros the size of an elephant, those spear-like horns capable of punching through ribs and into vital organs. Even T-Rex, with its bone-crushing bite, had to be strategic when hunting these 3-horned juggernauts. But if Triceratops was a mobile fortress, then Ankylosaurus was an impregnable bunker. This 20-foot-long herbivore was covered head to tail in bony armor plates called osteoderms, creating a natural shell that could deflect even tyrannosaur teeth. Spikes protruded from its sides like medieval armor, while its back was a landscape of bony knobs and ridges. Ankylosaurus's secret weapon was its tail, a massive club of fused bone weighing over 100 pounds that could swing with devastating force. Biomechanical studies suggest this tail club could generate impacts powerful enough to shatter the leg bones of attacking predators. One well-placed strike could cripple even a T-Rex. Together, these armored defenders proved that in the late Cretaceous, the hunted had become as dangerous as the hunters. The age of dinosaurs ended not with helpless prey, but with an evolutionary stalemate where predator and prey were locked in perfect, deadly balance. So, what's the takeaway here? The late Cretaceous had achieved evolutionary perfection in the art of killing and survival. Every continent harbored its own unique apex predators: bone-crushing tyrannosaurs in North America, giant shark-toothed hunters in South America, and semi-aquatic river demons patrolling the waterways in Africa. Everything was ruled by specialized killing machines. Pack hunters coordinated with terrifying intelligence. Bizarre specialists filled every ecological niche with unexpected nightmares. Even the herbivores had evolved into walking weapons: armored tanks with bone-crushing clubs, charging fortresses with spear-like horns, and giants too massive to challenge. The late Cretaceous wasn't just an age of dinosaurs, it was nature's most perfect arms race, where predator and prey pushed each other to evolutionary extremes that have never been matched. Every survival strategy had been perfected, every killing technique refined, every defensive adaptation maximized. In this world of ultimate predators and ultimate prey, locked in perfect, deadly balance, there truly was nowhere to hide. And then, in an instant, it all ended. Forever.